Welcome to the Caine Interviews. I'm Shannon Caine. Today we'll be discussing astronomy. I have with me Patrick Carr and Dr. David Cater, who are both active with an organization called CASE. That's an acronym for the Christian Association of Stellar Explorers. And gentlemen, could you just tell me, what is the goal of your organization?
Sure, we exist as a traditional amateur astronomy group, but we do quite a bit of public education, everything from children up to senior adults. That's really our main focus is just teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say also, first of all, how thankful we are that you've just invited us to come speak with your audience. We like to say that our organization, we get together to appreciate what we call God's wow. We like to get people together. We have a lot of Christians in our organization. We also have some non-Christians, and certainly both kinds of folks can be members of our club and appreciate. But we like to look through eyepieces, look through the sky, and just go, wow. So maybe that's the main emotional reason why we have a club at all. But we do a lot of public education, and we do try to teach young amateurs about equipment, how to get started, those kinds of things.
Okay, great. Now, would you say that your Christ-centered focus makes your organization somewhat different from other astronomy groups?
I guess I'll start there. I have been in lots of astronomy clubs, mostly in California, where I'm originally from. Then I moved here. At the time we developed CASE, founded CASE, we didn't really know of any other clubs in the United States, as far as we could discover, that had any Christian principles behind them. That was fine. I certainly had a good time enjoying astronomy with any sort of club. But Patrick and I happened to go to a conference, Mid-States Regional Conference of the Astronomical League. We were driving home somewhere in Missouri. I looked at him, he looked at me. We said, there isn't really a Christian astronomy club. And looking at each other a little more, we said, let's found one. And so what we decided to do was form a club based on the notion that we believe the God of the Christian Scriptures is the author of the universe that we see.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went on from there to appreciating God's wow.
Okay, so with a Christ-centered astronomical organization, you're basically suggesting that science and religion aren't mutually exclusive.
Oh, definitely not. While we all agree that the God of the Scriptures created the universe, we may not agree on the methods or modes.
Right.
Our club is open. We're not a theology club.
Right.
Theology tears a lot of things apart in a lot of ways.
Right.
But our club basically focuses on what we can view in teaching it through the Christian filter, saying that we know that Christ died for our sins. He's the Son of God, holy man, triune, the whole Trinity God concept. But when we look at the sky, we just agree to disagree on the different ways that it may have been produced. We have people who are what we call young Earth creationists, who believe in a literal 6-day creation.
Uh-huh.
We have progressive creationists, which believe in a much older universe.
Right.
And we have theistic evolutionists.
Okay, so denomination really isn't an issue with your organization?
Oh, no. We have Baptists, Presbyterians, Episcopals, Methodists.
Well, certainly,
Probably offending somebody, leaving somebody out.
and we probably have people who wouldn't espouse any particular denominational affiliation. And of course, we have some people who would not have necessarily Christian beliefs.
Okay, so one need not necessarily
Right.
be a Christian
Right.
to participate in your
We
organization.
do have some ground rules. We don't, on the premises of our observatory, we don't have smoking, we don't have drinking. It's a family thing. We like to stay away from coarse language. But other than that, it's everybody who wants to enjoy the universe.
Okay, great. Well, now, if someone were completely new to the field of astronomy and just wanted to get started, what would you recommend to them? And is there any special equipment that they might need for this?
I'd recommend they don't buy a telescope.
Okay.
And I know that sounds hard to believe. Don't buy the first telescope you see. Sure, they get up with other local astronomy clubs. There's 3 in the Northwest Arkansas region. There's CASE. There's the Astronomical Society of Northwest Arkansas in Fayetteville. And there's Sugar Creek Astronomical in Bella Vista. Don't buy the first telescope. The best thing you can do is get together, meet some other amateur astronomers, look through their equipment. It gives you an idea of what's available. First thing I'd start with, quite frankly, is your eyes or a pair of binoculars and a simple star chart.
Right.
It's a great way to start. If you learn the constellations first, you can move from there.
Okay. Now, what and where is Heaven View Observatory?
We'll go in a direction.
Heaven View Observatory is located at New Life Ranch, which is in Colcord, Oklahoma. It's about 10 minutes across the border from Siloam Springs. And we have an entrance into the camp from the top, which is exactly where observatory is located. Heaven View is, as far as we can tell, the largest publicly available amateur observatory in the state.
It's basically right off 412, about 3 miles north of the 412 highway, and about 8 or 9 minutes west of Siloam Springs. And directions are on our website. We could certainly, if somebody wanted to find it, they could follow the directions.
Yes, and later in the broadcast, we'll try to put up the URL to your website.
Sure.
And, so that people can contact you if they want further information or directions out to Heaven View Observatory. And so this is totally open to the public, whoever wants to come out.
Yes, we post public nights. We have 2 public nights a month, one for the moon, for lunar observing, and one for just other astronomical objects.
Okay, and I noticed on your website that you host star parties. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
I don't know where the term star party came from. It was at least around in the 50s. Basically, it's any gathering of amateurs who bring their scopes, usually to a dark site, and just have fun together.
Right.
Sometimes there's food, sometimes there's picnics. I'd have to say at some, there can be some drinking, not at ours. But it's just getting together and appreciating the universe and having show your equipment off, swap equipment, things like that.
Right. Okay. Now, how would one go about getting young people interested in astronomy?
Well, first step is obviously their science classes at school. I have a 9-year-old daughter who's been interested in it since kindergarten. We do public education in the public and the private and the Christian schools in our region, where we go in and we do a small presentation basically about what's there. We don't stand up and say, other than that the name of our club is CASE, the Christian Association of Settled Explorers, we don't get up and espouse any theology in a public setting that would be constitutionally questionable.
Right, so it is purely educational and
We
scientific.
go in and we teach the best science available to our time.
Lots of kids get interested in astronomy because their parents are and get taken to star parties. Sometimes that's a turn on, sometimes that's a turn off. But we do a lot of public education where we can. I write a monthly column for the Siloam Springs newspaper, which I try to gear so that young people could read it with understanding,
Right.
as well as their parents. So you kind of got to go and get kids and educate them. That's what we
Right.
do.
Okay, well, now let's talk about astronomy as it pertains to this specific geographical region. Is Northwest Arkansas a good place for stargazing?
Not too bad. We have some good dark skies. Still a lot of light pollution in this area. Part of that is just people don't understand effective techniques on lighting their property. Anytime 20 or 30% of the light that should be directed down is shooting up, we're getting what they call sky fog or light pollution. The International Dark Sky Association is a big organization that tries to stop that. I'm our state coordinator for Arkansas, for the Arkansas Dark Sky Preservation Society. But it's good because we have 2 universities, we have some other colleges where people get together and have resources to discuss amateur astronomy.
Right.
Probably the most detrimental thing about being in this area, we are a little bit associated with Tornado Alley. So we do have lots of cold and warm air fronts that meet, and you get clouds. So dealing with clouds can come up very fast and also go away very fast.
Right.
We think they lurk over the horizon, waiting for our party to happen. And then they'll go. And then as soon as we leave, they go back. But clouds are the big issue that you have to deal with.
Okay. What astronomical events are happening in this area right now? Is there anything extraordinary that we could see right here in Arkansas?
Mars. Everyone who's anyone has heard right now that Mars is here. What makes it really important is that Mars is reaching opposition to where it's going to be closest that it's ever been to Earth in recorded history, 60,000 years.
Wow.
And it's going to be 250 years before it gets that close again. I remember looking at it last opposition 2 years ago, and it was okay, but nowhere near the level that we can appreciate it today. It's so much closer. It's 40% larger.
I have to say, last night, I had another friend, were observing Mars at 1 o'clock in the morning, the best I've seen in my life. Conditions were really, really nice at our little observatory.
Okay, so for the folks out there who are watching Mars right now, when does this phenomenon hit its peak?
Wednesday it'll be close. It'll reach its closest opposition to Earth. However, a week either side of that is not going to make a lot of difference. Even 2 weeks isn't going to be a big deal. We're hosting a Mars opposition party Friday.
Okay, so it's not going to disappear.
No, it's
not gonna disappear. We've still
Okay,
got
it'll still be there.
months.
Okay, great. Now, with a telescope, while Mars is so close to us, could one actually see Phobos and Deimos, the moons of Mars, with a telescope?
You can. Phobos and Deimos are very faint, and they look star-like, obviously because of distance. What you have to do is you have to create an eyepiece that has what they call an occulting bar. And what that does is that you put a bar up that actually, in the eyepiece, will block out Mars, or most of its brightness, so you can see the little stars that are moving around it. And you look at it over time, and they'll get further and closer, kind of like what we do with Jupiter. So Jupiter's moons are so large and so bright, we don't have a problem viewing them.
It is technically demanding. It's really for an advanced amateur who's really pretty experienced, but it technically can be done. You can see it.
Now, are there any other heavenly bodies out there aside from Mars that we should be looking for in the night sky right now?
If one sort of unhooks from the Mars phenomena, this is always about the best time of the year to see the summer Milky Way. If you just get a chaise lounge pad, throw it on the ground at the dark side, get some binoculars, and cruise up and down the summer Milky Way, you can get lost for a whole evening. It's absolutely beautiful. You'll see millions of stars.
Wow. Okay. Now, let's go back to the Christian nature of your organization. Do you ever get any objections from secular astronomers that your Christian viewpoints are unscientific?
Actually, we've been very well accepted. Our club was selected to host the regional convention of the Astronomical League for the Mid-States in our third year of existence. We were elected chair and co-chair, and I serve on the national organization on their executive committee.
Okay, so it's not especially an issue?
We meet lots of Christians. You'd be surprised.
And lots of professionals too, but it doesn't really come up much.
Just because you're Christian doesn't mean you're an idiot. That's kind of how I would say it. You can still see the observable phenomena. You can still understand it. We just look at it with a little different turn.
Sure. Okay.
Or just because you're a professional astronomer doesn't mean you don't respect other people's religious beliefs.
No, exactly.
Okay. Now, if someone were to refute, or how do you refute the argument that the universe was created by some force other than God? And would astronomy play into your counter-argument?
Well, to say that the universe has an intelligent creator or is created by some other force are really not scientific issues. They are matters of faith. And if someone wants to maintain the universe is created by, gosh, I don't know, force X or no force at all, has simply been at all time, that's neither provable nor unprovable within the means of science. So I would respect that belief, perhaps share my belief, but my beliefs aren't like provable or unprovable. One simply looks inside one's belief structure at various lines of evidence, and one either finds one belief or another convincing or you don't.
Okay, so it's not a matter of empirical evidence or anything. It is just a matter of one's faith and conscience and so forth.
At that degree, other things are a matter of empirical evidence,
Right.
but not I think about origins. You can make excellent arguments, reasons from a faith or non-faith position, and that's kind of a trade-off. It's tough to come up with empirical evidence either way.
Okay.
Well, one of the things you look at is, I find it hard to believe that everything just kind of happened by chance. When you have a moon that is just far enough away, and an Earth that exists in just the right scope of existence and the breadth of existence to where we can survive, but that moon appears to be exactly the right size to block out the sun for a total solar eclipse. Kind of hard to believe that everything's happened that much by chance. And then when you look at galaxies, and you see that, in a galactic scheme, we're really kind of insignificant. We're very small.
Would your research lead you to believe in the existence of extraterrestrial life?
We don't particularly do too much research. We've done, everybody's probably, lots of amateur astronomers were first science fiction buffs, so a lot of us have read all kinds of possible things about extraterrestrial life. Wouldn't be so much our research. One could make an argument, and certainly people have, that either the universe is teeming with life, or we're the only intelligent beings in it, and all cases in between. I like to think of a creative God whose very nature is just to create and create consciousness, and my personal belief is perhaps the universe is teeming with intelligent life. Makes it tough to get in touch with each other because the distances are so great,
Right.
But that it may well be, and that if I discovered that, it wouldn't harm my faith. I would sort of feel like saying, yay God about that. It worked.
God will do what he will do. It's not really a question, well, gee, if God wants to do this somewhere else and do it in a different scale, that's really kind of insignificant for us.
Okay. What do you feel has been the most significant astronomical event of the past century?
Definitely. I mean, we discussed this on the way over. We have lots of different beliefs, but I must agree with David that the most important one was Edwin Hubble and Hubbleson when they discovered that up until that time in the 30s,
This is more like the 20s.
more like the 20s, yeah, that's true. We believe that everything we see is in our own galaxy, in the Milky Way. And Hubble and Hubbleson discovered that we're not. That all these little patches that they called nebula, some of these galactic nebula are actually true galaxies. Some the same size as the Milky Way, some much larger. So when you start looking at galactic scale, there's a lot of galaxies out there, and we can't even, it takes us days to get to the moon. We can't get to our nearest star. Imagine a galaxy that's so huge.
Hubble and Hubbleson also discovered that the universe is expanding,
Yeah.
and that the rate of expansion is proportionate to the distance. Up until then, really, cosmology was pretty much guesswork, but that put cosmology on a real empirical evidentiary base, and all modern theories of the development after the creation events are really modeled on Hubbleson and Hubble's discovery. So for the 20th century, I would point to those kinds of things, those discoveries.
Okay. Let's shift back to your organization. Can non-scientists become members of CASE? And if so, what would one receive with the CASE membership packet?
Well, first of all, we're not scientists.
Definitely. Amateur scientists.
I'm a psychologist.
I'm a graphic designer. I'm starting with science.
We would welcome some more scientists, but we don't really have any. Much more ordinarily educated folks. If they join the club, first of all, they'll have a low rate to join a club in the first place, which you can talk about.
Yeah, we're a very affordable organization. We have student memberships of $5, which basically we lose money at that. And then we have family organization memberships at $25, and then $15 for individuals. What they get with that is they get our quarterly publication, the Photon Gazette, and they get the quarterly publication of the Astronomical League, the Reflector. It's a full-color magazine. Plus, they get discounts on other magazines like Sky and Telescope and Astronomy.
Okay.
I personally would appreciate some more members who wanted to write things. It ends up, you and I and a couple of other people who mostly write the newsletter, we would like to have some people do some editorial, post them in print.
Okay, well, how can the public contact your group?
Everything go to our website, which is www.christian-astronomy.org, or do a Yahoo search on Christian and Astronomers, and we're the first 10 to pop up. You can do a search on CASE, any of those ways. That'll list information on Heaven View Observatory. My address and phone number's in there. It also lists our email address, so you can contact us. It's the best and quickest way to find us.
Okay, great. Well, that about wraps up our interview, and it's really been great having you on the show.
Well, again, we really want to thank you for inviting us.
Thanks. For the Caine interviews, I'm Shannon Caine.